Greetings to all. In this video, we are going to understand 25 multiple choice questions from the poem Anecdote of the Jar written by Wallace Stevens. Question number 1. What profession did Wallace Stevens pursue during his lifetime? Option A, physicist. Option B, lawyer. Option C, poet. Option D, architect. What profession did Wallace Stevens pursue during his lifetime? The answer is option B, lawyer. Question number 2. Which of the following is one of Wallace Stevens' most famous poetry collections? Option A, The Wasteland. Option B, The Road Not Taken. Option C, Harmonium. Option D, Howl. Which of the following is one of Wallace Stevens' most famous poetry collections? What is the correct answer? Option C, Harmonium. Question number 3. Stevens won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry for which collection? Option A, The Auroras of Autumn. Option B, Notes Toward a Supreme Fiction. Option C, The Idea of Order at Key West. Option D, Collected Poems. Stevens won the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry which collection? The correct answer is option A, The Auroras of Autumn. Question number 4. Which poetic movement is Wallace Stevens often associated with? Option A, Romanticism. Option B, Imagism. Option C, Modernism. Option D, Beat Generation. Which poetic movement is Wallace Stevens often associated with? The correct answer is option C, Modernism. Question number 5. In Stevens' poem, The Snowman, what does the speaker suggest one must become the fully appreciate the winter landscape? Option A, a philosopher. Option B, a child. Option C, a snowman. Option D, nothing. Once again, understand the question. In Stevens' poem, The Snowman, what does the speaker suggest one must become to fully appreciate the winter landscape? The correct answer is option D, nothing. Question number 6. In Anecdote of the Jar, where does the jar get placed by the speaker? Option A, in a garden. Option B, in the wilderness. Option C, on a hill in Tennessee. Option D, in a museum. In Anecdote of the jar, where does the jar get placed by the speaker? The correct answer is option C, on a hill in Tennessee. On a hill in Tennessee is the correct answer. Question number 7. What effect does the jar have on its surroundings in the poem? Option A, it brings chaos. Option B, it creates order. Option C, it has no impact. Option D, it confuses the speaker. What effect does the jar have on its surroundings in the poem? The correct answer is option B, it creates order. Question number 8. According to the poem, what is the jar described as being made of? Option A, glass. Option B, metal. Option C, clay. Option D, crystal. According to the poem, what is the jar described as being made of? The correct answer is option A, glass. Question number 9. What does the jar do to the wilderness according to the speaker? Option A, damps it. Option B, destroys it. Option C, ignites it. Option D, buries it. What does the jar do to the wilderness according to the speaker? The correct answer is option A, damps it. Damps it is the correct answer. Option A is the correct answer. Question number 10. What does the jar symbolize in the poem? Option A, nature's beauty. Option B, human intervention. Option C, chaos and disorder. Option D, timelessness. What does the jar symbolize in the poem? The correct answer is option B, human intervention. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 11. How does the speaker describe the wilderness before the jar's placement? Option A, ordered and structured. Option B, chaotic and wild. Option C, serene and peaceful. Option D, barren and desolate. How does the speaker describe the wilderness before the jar's placement? The correct answer is option B, chaotic and wild. Chaotic and wild. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 12. What is the relationship between the jar and the landscape as portrayed in the poem? Option A, the jar complements the landscape. Option B, the jar contrasts with the landscape. Option C, the jar is indifferent to the landscape. Option D, the jar is hidden within the landscape. What is the relationship between the jar and the landscape as portrayed in the poem? The correct answer is option B, the jar contrasts with the landscape. Question number 13. What role does the jar play in the poem's exploration of art and nature? Option A, it highlights the beauty of nature. Option B, it signifies the power of human creation. Option C, it represents the insignificance of art. Option D, it symbolizes the decay of nature. What role does the jar play in the poem's exploration of art and nature? The correct answer is option B. It signifies the power of human creation. Question number 14. What does the speaker suggest about the jar's influence on the surrounding environment? Option A, it brings chaos and disorder. Option B, it imposes order and structure. Option C, it has no impact on the surroundings. Option D, it confuses the observer. What does the speaker suggest about the jar's influence on the surrounding environment? The correct answer is option B. It imposes order and structure. Question number 15. Which literary movement is often associated with Wallace Stevens and is reflected in Anecdote of the Jar? Option A, Romanticism. Option B, Modernism. Option C, Realism. Option D, Transcendentalism. Which literary movement is often associated with Wallace Stevens and is reflected in Anecdote of the Jar? The correct answer is option B, Modernism. Question number 16. In Anecdote of the Jar, what does the jar do to the slovenly wilderness? Option A, beautifies it. Option B, ignites it. Option C, confuses it. Option D, damps it. In the poem Anecdote of the Jar, what does the jar do to the slovenly wilderness? The correct answer is option D, damps it. Question number 17. What aspect of the jar does the speaker emphasizes in relation to the landscape? Option A, it's emptiness. Option B, it's transparency. Option C, it's roundness. Option D, it's color. What aspect of the jar does the speaker emphasizes in relation to the landscape? The correct answer is option B, it's transparency. Question number 18. According to the poem, what effect does the jar have on the landscape's dominance? Option A, it reinforces it. Option B, it challenges it. Option C, it ignores it. Option D, it transforms it. According to the poem, what effect does the jar have on the landscape's dominance? The correct answer is option B, it challenges it. Question number 19. How does the speaker describe the process of the jar's interaction with the landscape? Option A, swift and violent. Option B, gradual and subtle. Option C, chaotic and unpredictable. Option D, harmonious and balanced. How does the speaker describe the process of the jar's interaction with the landscape? What's the correct answer? Option B, gradual and subtle. Question number 20. What is the significance of the jar being placed on a hill in Tennessee? Option A, it represents a historical event. Option B, it symbolizes the speaker's hometown. Option C, it adds a touch of mystery. Option D, it emphasizes the contrast with the wilderness. What is the significance of the jar being placed on a hill in Tennessee? The answer is option C, it adds a touch of mystery. Option C, it adds a touch of mystery. Question number 21. What does the jar's placement suggest about the relationship between civilization and nature? Option A, nature dominates civilization. Option B, civilization conquers and shapes nature. Option C, there is a perfect balance between them. Option D, the two are indifferent to each other. What does the jar's placement suggest about the relationship between civilization and nature? The correct answer is option B, civilization conquers and shapes nature. Civilization conquers and shapes nature. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 22. According to the speaker, what does the jar bring to the wilderness besides order? Option A silence, option B music, option C color, option D light. The correct answer is option A silence. According to the speaker, what does the jar bring to the wilderness besides order? The correct answer option A silence. Question number 23. What does the jar's imposition of order represent in the context of the poem? Option A, human control over nature. Option B, nature's resistance to human influence. Option C, the inevitability of chaos. Option D, the fragility of art. What does the jar's imposition of order represent in the context of the poem? The correct answer is option A, human control over nature. Question number 24. What is the significance of the jar's presence for the speaker? Option A, it provides a source of inspiration. Option B, it symbolizes the speaker's inner turmoil. Option C, it marks a moment of contemplation. Option D, it represents a disturbance in the natural order. In the poem, what is the significance of the jar's presence for the speaker? The correct answer is option A, it provides a source of inspiration. Question number 25. How does the jar impact the speaker's perception of the landscape's identity? Option A, it enhances the landscape's natural beauty. Option B, it erases the landscape's identity. Option C, it transforms the landscape into art. Option D, it leaves the landscape unchanged. How does the jar impact the speaker's perception of the landscape's personal identity? The correct answer is option C, it transforms the landscape into art. It transforms the landscape into art. Thank you for watching this video.